Hello and welcome to Injury Duty. This is our Project 3 submission. The goal of our software is to find the safest place to work according to workplace injury statistics. If we look at our original data, we have about 25,000 points. We are given the year, the city, and the state. Additionally, we want to look at the days away and the total case rate. Analyzing this data is pretty easy. We use Excel functions to find the average and the standard deviation, which will be used later. So if we take across 20 years and 50 states, we only need 100 different cities to create 100,000 different options for our uh, for every combination of these to get 100,000 data points. Here, we are checking to make sure all the values are unique. I was having some issues having replicating cities, but that takes care of that. Additionally, here we are creating a random engine and two distributions, one for the days away and one for the total case rate, with the standard deviation and the mean used earlier. This creates this is a loop that creates those values, and then we combine them all together here with every single possible combination of the three, getting a 100,000 different lines. Then we write it out to CSV, to a CSV file using these commas as delimiters, and eventually we get this as our result. A much simpler, much easier to read 100,000 values of everything we need.
Hey guys, so here we're going to take a look at the two header files that contain the test functions for both the max heap and the unordered map. So here we'll start in the max heap, and here we have the function that finds the lowest elements or the worst places to live. And I multi-purposed it such that we could pass num elements to be 1 to find the lowest rating, or 5 to be the lowest 5. And here we have our max heap, which stores the name and the rating. And here you can see we actually use the most efficient way a max heap can do this, which is to push elements until it hits the size of num elements, and if it gets too big, we pop the top one, so that way we're left with a max heap that's just the size of the number of elements we need, which is the lowest ones, and then they're added to a vector strings and reverse it so it's in lowest order. Here we also have the largest finds the safest places to live, and the only way to do this is to push all the data onto it and then pop the top elements, which is the largest ones, and return that vector of strings. Here we have our find function, or the get rating function, and the only way to do this is to push all the data to a max heap and then iterate through the entire max heap, and if the element is found, we can return that name or the rating. So next we'll take a look at the unordered map, and you can see here we have the smallest function as well, which I also repurposed, and from there we add all of it to the unordered map and find the smallest rating, and if it's found we add it, and we'll keep going depending on how many smallest nums. And then it's the same idea for the largest, which is add all of it and then search through it to find the largest one. If we find it, push it back and erase it depending on how many times we got to do it. And for the find function, we use the actual find function of unordered map to find it while also adding all the data points, and then from there we'll return the rating if it's found.
Now, let's talk about our main method. So, in the beginning, we have overridden the comparison operator for pair comparisons. That's because generally it compares by keys, but we want to compare it by the values because those will be our ratings. So that's all that is. Now, from the beginning, we read in the files and we assign them to pairs. The string contains the year, the city, and the state, while the double contains our calculated safety rating. Then we give the user an input option to choose either unordered map or max heap. Then we have 7 options. Show safest place to live and show most dangerous place to live. Just use either the umax or the pq functions. And so do these two, top 5 and top 5. The only difference is instead of having the option here be 1, it's going to be 5. So it's going to input an array of 5 elements instead of 1. That's the only difference. And all of these functions are timed. Now as for this one, the 5th option, that basically gives the user an input of adding the year, the state, and the city. And then it'll use a find function to find this rating for the selected city. And finally, we have an option to change the data structure. So let's run this program. So let's select max heap. And let's find top 5 safest places to live. As you can see, it outputs a list and gives the function runtime. Thank you for watching our video.